fantastic, back again with another U.S.S. Franklin build update video thingamabobby. I can't even remember what they're called now. But anyway, we're continuing on with our Arduino session, and what we need to do is obviously get the code compiled onto the Arduino and everything like that. Now, if you remember previously, we were talking about these, which is what's going to be holding our LEDs, and they're going in a certain sequence. Remember, all of the negative pins are going to be joined into one in the middle, which is going to be done at a later time. But they go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then on the other one it goes in the opposite direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's all going to be done when we wire it up. So whatever colors I choose for each individual color, each individual LEDs, I've got to remember to use those colors but in the opposite direction, so then that way they would spin into each other. Okay, but on here we have what's called a breadboard where I've put all of our LEDs and everything on. So on here we've got our strobe LED with a 150 ohm, I believe it is. We've got a red LED and a red LED and a green LED for our navigation lights. I've got a 150 ohm resistor for the green, but I've got what have I got for the red? Because the red was overpowering the green. A 1K resistor on the red because it was overpowering it. Another 150 ohm resistor for the pulse and impulse engine right there. And here I've put in a circle all the different LEDs for the warp nacelles, each of them having a 150 ohm resistor. Okay. Now what we need to do is set up our breadboard, not our breadboard, our Arduino, which I've got right here, which I've set up. Now if you look on the bottom here, it'll have all the different numbers for the pins that we're going to be using. So pin number 2 is going to be our LED number 1. So then you go on in order, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but obviously in the pins it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're missing out pin 10. Pin 11 is going to go to our pulse, our impulse engine. Pin 12 is going to go with our navs, and pin 13 is going to go to, you can't even see all that really clearly, there you go. Pin 13 is going to go to our strobe, and then obviously we've got our ground circuit in there as well. So we need to plug these into here. So first off, we're going to choose one of the top ones here as pin number 2. Now, as I should really show you, the resistors all on the negative pins. So if I take out one of these LEDs here, if you remember from previous videos, the shorter leg is the negative, so that's where you want your resistor to be, so that all the positive legs are going to be separate. So we're going to get our first pin number 2. That's going to go onto the positive of the other leg right there. And I'm actually going to have to do this way. You go back over there. I'm going to have to lay this on the ground to get this on. So the next pin over is going to get there, and we're just going to keep going in our sequence. So obviously these connector wires are not the colours I'm going to be using on the main wiring when it's done. This is just so I can hook it up to the breadboard. Put all these pins in. There we go. And this one's next. And then the final one. Put just in there. There we go. So we'll be able to still see the flashing, so don't worry about that. The wires are not in the way. So pin 11 is going to be our impulse engine pulsing LED. Pin 12 is our navigation. Now what I've done with these, the LEDs for the green and the red, I've connected both of the positive legs together, but the two negatives I've used separate, done them separately. So we're going to put that on where the positive leg is for the doobly flip, and the positive leg there. Now this is going to be for our negative line, so I'm going to put that just on there. But you've probably noticed that I've got negatives on here as well as negative on there, because you've got your, on the breadboard, you've got your positive and your negative. Let's bring it up here as you can see it. You've got your positive row, and then your positive row at the top, then your negative row there, and the same with the opposite side. So you can see I've put the resistors into the negative terminals up the top and at the bottom, but I've only got one ground up the top. So what I need to do there is bridge it. So if I get a nice small, there we go, this one, just a nice small one, and what I can do, I can get the negative there, negative there, so I've now bridged the negative all over. The power is all going to be running from the Arduino board. Okay, now then, I'm going to bring you guys back in a minute once I get everything all sorted. Right, okay, so we've got all this all set up, ready to go now. But what we need to do, we're now going to plug in our Arduino cable to the computer. And you got the light showing that everything's all ready to go, and there's nothing on the board. So I'm going to just switch you over to the Arduino IDE bit, so hang on one second. And there we go. So in here, let's just bring my microphone over a bit more. There we go. So in here, this is your, we've already discussed, this is where your main program is going to be, but I've already went ahead and done my U.S.S. Franklin sketch. Now for this, I've used a few different things. So we've got the LED strobe lights and nav lights from Ostrich Longneck. Then I've used an LED fader which I found online, which is this here, and it has to include the LED fader.h, which is a program you have to download. And I'll go into a bit more detail on how to download things like LED faders and things like that later. I'm not going to do it now because it'll take far too long. So then I've also got a Knight Rider sketch here. It gives you the output pins on where we're going to be putting the LEDs, because normally obviously with the Knight Rider one it'll go back and forth, but I wanted to go into a continuous circle. Okay, so I've used pretty much 3 or 4 different things. Excuse me. So this is just telling us what we are doing. Okay, then we've got our setup codes, which tells us what we're going to be using for our strobe lights, our nav lights, our fader. Okay, and this is for our LED, oh, what's it called? Oh dear me, I can't think now. Knight Rider thing that have been changed, and you can see it tells you what pins are what. So pin 13 is our strobe, pin 12 is our navigation, pin 11 is our fader, pins 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 is for our nacelles, our Bassard collectors. Okay, and that's what each of these pertain to. So we've got our strobe light, we've got our strobe lights there, we've got our nav lights there, we've got our fade there, and we've got our Knight Rider bits there. But you want to put these into a loop so they're continuing, so you put them in the void loop section, which is just here. So we've got our LED update there, the LED fade is fading, the fade direction up and down, etc. This is all for the fading. Then we've got our strobe lights updates, our nav lights update, and then this part here is all for the Night Rider lights. It had a lot more to it, but because I wanted it to go into a continuous circle, which I did have to get some help from, and I got quite a bit of help for this. I got help from a guy called McDonald. He's got a brilliant YouTube channel. He's currently working on the U.S.S. Enterprise JJ Prize right now as well, so I'm going to link his channel in the description, so go check him out. And the Arduino forum, I got help with the Night Rider LEDs, because no matter what I did, I could not figure out how to change it to just go in a continuous circle. Okay, and this is all the code that's needed for our Franklin build that we're going to be using. So what we need to do now, we're first going to verify that we've got the correct Arduino. So we go to Tools, Arduino, make sure we're choosing the Arduino Uno, because if you have it wrong it won't upload, because I originally tested it with the Arduino Nano earlier. If I click on there, you can see you've got an Arduino Nano. This will not work, so I need to put it on Arduino Uno, because that's the board I'm using. This is all for testing, this board, the big Arduino. I always use my testing on this one. So we go to verify our sketch, and there you go, and that's all done and ready to go. So then I click on upload, and then if I change our thing over, there we go. So we now have our strobing LED, a navigation LED, our pulsing LED just here, and we have our spinning Bussard collector. So I'm just going to bring the camera over, so beware of the sit cam at the minute. Bring you up and over, there we go. Yeah. So let's bring it over so you can see. So there is our spinning LEDs and our strobe, navigation and pulsing impulse engines LED. Okay, but now we've got that on our main Arduino board and we've tested it out, we know that it's working. Excuse me. We now need to put it onto our Arduino Nano. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're just going to unplug this. Here is our Arduino Nano. Now I have already put it on here, so I do know it's working, but for all intents and purposes we're going to pretty much start from scratch. So what I need to do is unplug a few things. Because the Arduino Nano already has output pins, as you can see here, because this is what we solddered up the other day. And if you look on the Arduino, here we go, along the top here, on here we got our ground, the pin 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, all the way going over, and then it continues on over here. So this is what we are going to be using for our Franklin build. So we need a different kind of connector. We need connectors that don't have pins at both ends. So we've got one that has the male end and one that has a female end. As you can see there, I don't know if you can see, there we go. One's got a pin at the end, one doesn't. So we're going to need those. And I've just got to sift through all of these bloody wires because I've got loads of them. Yes, you are. Yes, okay. And that one, and that one there. So, massive wires going everywhere. Whoa, hey, no, come back here, you. So again, we're going to follow the same principle. So we're going to go with pin number 2, which is going to be this one here. So just going to plonk all these wires in pin number 2 and look for pin 2 on our board, and that's right here. So then now we just keep going on that way, but putting them on here. So pin 2, so this is pin 3. So you've seen all of this before, so I'll bring you guys back in a minute. Okay, bringing you guys back. So I've wiped the board of the code. You can see we've got everything all pretty much in exactly the same areas that we had, just obviously on the smaller board. Our ground I've put into this pin here. You can put it into the ground that way, or you can put it into the ground there. It doesn't matter because we've got the bridge. Alright, so this is pretty much what I'm going to be using this board for our Franklin build. And you've already seen the videos of how I got all this set up. That's a previous video, so we're going to go with that. So I'm going to bring you back to our Arduino code thingy, my bobby. Just bear with me a couple of seconds. That one there. Right, so now if you remember rightly, before we were using our, where's my Franklin one gone? That's it, there we go. Back to our Franklin one. So if you remember before, we were using our Arduino Uno. So we need to change that now to our Arduino Nano. So we're going to go to Tools, Arduino Nano. And we also want to make sure we're on the correct port, because the Arduino Uno uses COM port 8, whereas the Arduino Uno is using COM port 4, but Arduino Nano is using COM port 8. So you need to make sure you're using the correct port. If you're unsure of what port you're using, just go down to your start menu here, type in Device Manager, and it should come up on the very first one here. Go to where it says ports COM LPT, and here we go. This is the USB serial for the CH340, which is what the Arduino Nano here, the clones, are using. So it's using that one there. So I know that's on COM port 8. So now this is all set up, ready to go. We are going to verify it again, just to be on the safe side, because you never know, something may have happened and may have accidentally hit things or something like that. You just never know. But it's done compiling, there's no errors, so that's fine. We are then going to go to upload, and then I'm going to, while it's uploading, take you to our Arduino, and there we go. Sick cam again. And there we go, we've got our strobing, we've got our navigations. The wires are going to stop it from focusing properly, isn't it? Let's go over, there we go. So we've got our navs, pulse and impulse engine, strobing, the circular lights for the impulse engine, and all being run on this little teeny tiny Nano. Are you going to focus into that bit there? There we go. All being run on this little tiny Nano. And once I bring another Arduino Uno board into place, it just gives you a good idea of the scale between the two. Yeah, so much smaller, so it's going to leave less of a footprint. But there you go, that's a rough excuse me, a rough idea of our Arduino Nanos and Arduino Unos that I'm going to be using for our U.S.S Franklin build. Put these wires down so we can see things a bit clearer. And obviously we have to remember, when we're wiring these up, to wire it up in the opposite direction from what we've already done one with. Okay, and then we need to make sure we put them in the correct nacelles, because I want the spinning effect. So this one would be going on the nacelle. If you're looking straight at the front, it'd be going on the left nacelle, and when it's spinning the opposite direction, we want that on the right nacelle, if you're looking at it straight at the front. And what's good with this can go up to 5 volts even. So all I would need to do is attach the power. If I take this off, undo the pins, because we now know they're working. So all I would need to do, if we go up close, we get a pointy stick. So if we look on here, I've got to find it now. So all I would need to do is solder the 5 volt power to the 5 volt pin just here. Focus, there we go. There. All the ground is going to be going onto the ground connection. Alright. Solder in the 5 volt power. And this will also run our main lights as well, because the power will just go through it. At least that's what I'm hoping. So I'm gonna have to test it a little bit later on, but I'll do that in another video when I'm ready, because I'm not ready to solder anything onto these pins yet. But there you go, that's how I use the Arduino Nano to be able to do our things. As I said, then links in the description in the first video for the places to get your other information on how to use your Arduino Nano, Longneck Ostrich. Alex McDonald, as I've already previously mentioned, look at his YouTube channel as well. He's doing the U.S.S JJ prize, and the reason I'm saying look at his channel, because he's also doing his own lighting for the JJ prize as well. And I can use this particular setup for the JJ prize, because when I originally first set this up, I did have an effect of spinning the nacelles, brilliant. But when I added my LED flasher, my strobes, my navigation lights, my impulse engine pulsing, added this sketch to that sketch, these would work, but then these would just flash, obviously at different rates, no strobing, just flash, and my impulse engine stopped working, just wouldn't work at all. And it was because of something that was being written using delay, the code, and it was that delay code that was stopping these from working. So obviously me and Alex were sitting down and trying to figure it out. We were pulling our hair out, but in the end I found a Knight Rider code which didn't use the delay timer to give you the effects of the going back and forth. And so then I was trying to change his code to be able to just go continuous in a circle, but I just couldn't figure it out. So in the end I asked the forums, on the Arduino forums, and a guy there kindly said, here, try putting this into your code, and it worked, and it worked absolutely perfectly. So I'm really happy about it. And I could use this if I do another build of the JJ prize. Instead of spending loads of money on a light kit, because they cost, I mean, the cheapest one I've found for that is like 40 quid, and this is pretty much just going to cost me £10 for 3 of these. And I've already got the time done, it's already ready to go basically now. So I'm going to say thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. As I say, it wasn't very informative on how to write code or anything like that, because I don't know how to write code. I'm just using other people's code to be able to put in with what I've got there. It does help if you understand it a little bit, so you know where to put things. I mean, I have a small understanding of it, but I've never done Arduino. I'm going to have to do a course on Arduino so I can understand it fully and properly. But for now, this is what I'm going to be doing, and because I've now got that code all ready, I've named down the obviously it's called Franklin 01 sketch. I could use that for other things. As I said, I could use this same sketch for the JJ prize. Brilliant. And I can use it for other things as well. I can use it for runway lights. Yeah, you know, for the if I put these all in, let's test it, shall we? Actually, let's test it. I'm going to pause you for a minute. I'm going to bring you guys back. I'm going to put these in a straight line, and then we're going to test to see if I can use it for the, what's it called? The shuttle bay lights for the big enterprise that I'm going to be doing. I'll be back in a minute. Right, okay, so I'm bringing you back because I've now connected these all in just in a line, because I don't see any reason why you can't use the same code for shuttle bay running lights. Okay, so let's see if it works. Let's plug it in. Now I've not got the strobes and everything plugged in, so I've just got these. And what am I missing? Why is it not working? Got the ground in there, yes I do. Right, hang on, S is not working. Have I got that all correct? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yes. So why are you not playing? Let me double check these connections here. I'll bring you guys back in a second. No, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to keep you guys here. So I can just double check, make sure these are all in. Yes. All of those should be correct. They should all be in the correct negative and positive. Let's plug in the other ones as well, just to be on the safe side. So we want 11 and 12, just in case that it needs. And 12 and then 13. And then 13.
Oh, so soon. We're going to watch some Lee Evans tonight.
Okay, and plug that back in, and then so now something's going on here, so I will need to figure that out, and I'll bring you guys back in a second. No, as I said, no, I'm not. So it's definitely working, so it must be something that I've done here. So let's check all of these are going into the correct, all of those are going into the positive posts. Push them all in, make sure they're all pushed in, they're not touching. No, right, I know that LED is fine. So the next thing is going to be checking the LEDs, making sure the legs are going in the correct positions. Okay. Yep, that's all fine. That's fine. And then the final one is fine as well. Right, that's in. That's in. You into there as well. Yep. Right, so they're all in. The ground is in there. So there and there, yes, bridging over. Right, so let's get pin number 2 back in. So you have to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so let's make sure they're all in. So unless I need to go in front, that might have been it. Might have needed to go into the front of it instead of behind it. So let's do that there. 2, 3. Shouldn't matter. 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Alright, now let's try it. No. So again, I'm going to put these ground wires into the front, and let's just see if that's the issue as well. Basically, it's just troubleshooting, just to try and figure out what the heck is going on with this. I mean, in theory, it shouldn't make a blind bit of difference, but okay. And next one is in there. Next one goes in there. It could even be that these are too close together. That is a possibility, but I will try that in a minute. So that hello, that was in the power. Right, one of these was in the power. Just noticed that. Now it should work. Okay, let's plug it in, and right, okay. There. So I'm now putting these pins, these pin header things, back to where they were. If this doesn't work, I'm then going to turn everything all around, so it's, instead of being side by side like the legs are now, putting them straight. So how can I put it? Let me grab an LED. So at the minute, if we look at the LED legs that we've got there, at the minute I've got them facing into that way. Okay, I might change them to so they are that way instead of just flat on like that. So let's just give it another test first. So wait for it to initialize, and nope, nothing. Right, okay, so I am going to bring you guys back in a minute. Right, okay, so I've changed it. I think it was what I think. So hopefully, because I've now changed these so they're facing me, they're spread this way instead of this way. So let's plug it in. Wait for it to initialize, and yeah, we can use it as a so we can I can make the same code and rename a few things to call it like shuttle bay. I mean, obviously I'll have to use probably two if I'm gonna use the Arduinos for them. Might have to rename the code, but yeah, we can also use it as a shuttle base sequence as well. So, yeah, see, there's so many things you can do with these Arduino Nanos. Whereas if I bought the full light kit from, let's say, tenor controls. I am not faulting their stuff. Their stuff is looks absolutely brilliant. I just can't afford $175 on a light kit. I just can't do it. So I'm having to go a cheaper route, which is obviously the Arduinos. So guys, there you go. We can use it as a shuttle bait chaser, and I will see you guys in the next video. You take care of yourselves. Bye bye now.